Mr. Jared Cline with a C.
Yes, sir.
Jared Cline with a C. How you doing? Thanks for being on ParkerCAST, guest number 20.
20? Pleasure to be here, man.
I know, guest number 20. We told my tenant Emily we're going to do this. We're going to commit to a year. That's about 52 episodes. We're on 20. So we're rocking. I don't think I've missed one. So, we're rocking and rolling. I'm going on a cruise later on in June, so I'll have to maybe double podcast one week. Got Joe Lilly coming on in 2 weeks.
Oh, nice. He's a good dude.
Yep, Joe's coming in. So, all right, Jared, so you are a familiar face here in Parker County.
Sure am.
You have been slinging the cocktails and the beers and the drinks. Great conversation, great personality, great laughs. I think, since what, 2017?
2017, yeah, that's when I moved here. Yep.
From
Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon, all right.
Yep, it's a little old Weatherford.
And so I think our first meeting came at Parker County Brewing Company.
Yeah.
We had a job fair, if my memory serves me. This is almost 7 years ago now, but we had a job fair sign outside right there at the at the Willow Park location, right off 20.
And I saw a brewery sign, huge banner, said now hiring, and I was like, actually got lost trying to figure out where the heck do I go because I couldn't figure out the exit. Just moved here, wasn't familiar.
Texas turnarounds.
Yeah, so I'm going home and I get on my computer and I'm like, brewery, Willow Park. I can't find anything. And then all of a sudden this Facebook popped up and it was Parker County Brewing Company. And then I'm like, now hiring. There was a phone number, I believe, called up, and I believe I spoke to Susan and drove.
She was
right
HR there in the beginning.
Yeah, she was
HR in the beginning.
Yeah,
okay.
and drove right on over and applied and got a call like a week later.
So I remember it was you. Do you remember the interview? We had tables set up.
Awful.
Oh, or the greatest interview ever. But
Well,
no.
Great dudes.
Okay,
but the setup was just one of the most intimidating things.
Tell us about it.
First off, you walk into this building that is allegedly supposed to be open in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
There's concrete everywhere. There's no bar. There's very little, and it's basically a gray concrete room. And you guys, you walk me to the back kitchen.
But as soon as you walk in, you meet the Ryan's wife, I think, and Susan, my wife,
Susan.
And they have paperwork.
They're
for you
doing
to
paperwork,
sign.
yes, right away.
Very official, Jared.
Yeah,
it was.
Oh yeah, you guys were cranking it out,
Okay.
So I go into the kitchen and there's.
Well, you said the back room. We don't have a back room.
Yeah,
well, it was the kitchen.
It was the kitchen.
Okay, so
it was the
walked
kitchen, and there was a picnic table with two other very large gentlemen sitting there, and I pull up face to face at a little picnic table, and
it was Ryan, John Loftman.
Yeah.
And myself. Yeah.
And these guys didn't know how to interview for a restaurant at all. I mean, it was their first rodeo.
Right. Well, it was our first rodeo. I'll give you that. We're better now, but okay.
It was really awesome though.
I don't remember any of the questions, but
I don't remember any of the questions.
No, I remember after you left though, you were one of the few. You were like an immediate yes. And I remember Ryan, John, everybody had their own reasons, but it was like, oh yeah. This dude's cool, man. I mean, this is what we want. He can bartend. He's done it. He's in Portland, Oregon. That's one of the craft beer capitals of the world. Probably still is. And it's like, man, this is who we want. And you know what else is funny? I do remember we brought everybody back that we hired a day or two later for orientation, maybe a week later. And we had what we thought was a fairly elaborate onboarding book. I mean, come to find out, it was horrible. But, it was 7 pages made on Microsoft Word with a little Excel in there about do's and don'ts. And I remember going through everything, and there was the dress code portion. And it was if you have any tattoos, we'd like for you to cover them up. And I remember looking at you, and you were like,
I'm covered.
You're like, come again? And then we moved on to piercings, and we were like, if you have piercings, you were like, I don't. And you just sat there, but you had this look on your face like,
why'd these guys call me?
I think I'm fired. I didn't even start yet, but I think I'm fired. And you came up to us after, and in our, ignorance and, we're naive, you were like, I got a neck tat. What do you want me to do? I can't cover this. And we were like, it's okay. We were just, we have to go through these
Again,
things.
their first rodeo.
We just have to go
Service
through these
industry,
things.
not a thing.
And it's not even a thing. And to be honest,
it's really not much of a thing in a lot of businesses anymore.
Oh, that's funny you say that. It's funny you say that. So I was just talking to another professional in the world of academia and education, and we were talking all about how there's, half of the teachers in the public school have sleeves and tattoos. which is fine. I'm not against it. It's just not what was.
Absolutely
in the
not.
50s, 60s,
Yeah.
70s, 80s, 90s,
Early
2000s. But
Like-
now, I mean, every teacher has them. Professionals in finance have
It
them.
was us.
Yeah.
It was us. The teachers you're talking about are probably my age too.
Yeah, well, you're not wrong there.
Yeah.
Yeah. How old are you now?
31. Yep,
Wow.
going on 32. I know, it's crazy. I mean,
So, dude, you were like
2017.
23, 24.
23, I think, yeah. Yeah, I was a
23.
little baby.
So, okay,
Lived a
talk to
lot
me,
of life since then.
talk to me about where you came from. So, Oregon, was that the first stop?
Nope, kind of from all over the place. That's a really tough question when people ask me where I'm from because both my parents are in the Air Force, and I was born in California, moved to Japan, came back.
Wait,
to
you lived in Japan?
Japan, Okinawa, Japan. Yeah, I
Like,
lived
were you
there
a
for 6
toddler?
years.
Do you remember
Yeah, I
anything?
remember like the last half of it. So the last 3 years, I would say I remember. I was 1 to 7 there, and so the first 3 years,
Dude, you lived in Japan?
Yeah, and Okinawa of all places too. It's a little tiny island off the mainland. It's actually it's
time out.
It's a blue zone.
For any of our Gen Xers listening, I think that's where Miyagi-Do karate is from Karate Kid. That's Okinawa. That's
Honestly,
Karate Kid.
That would be news to me, but yeah,
That's Miyagi-Do.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's Karate Kid.
One of the coolest places in the world. I mean, the most peaceful people. These people work up until they die.
Well, they're
and they're
centurions
110
too. They're one of the blue zone.
Yeah, because they're squatting 50 times a day.
So the squat. We're going to get into weightlifting in a minute, but so the squat is killer. That's the good one.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're using your legs. That's what matters.
The compound
Yeah.
lift. All right. So you lived in Japan. Okay, I cut you off.
Japan,
Yeah.
back to America. Then we lived in North Dakota, which most irrelevant period of my life. Then we got stationed in Hawaii, and that's where my parents actually had bought land.
You
on
really
a
did
different
do
island.
Hawaii.
Yeah,
I was joking about that with you off camera, but you did Hawaii.
Oh yeah, no, I grew.
Nice.
That's where I mostly grew up. I went to all of high school there. After that, moved to the Big Island, and then my parents had 5.5 acres there, and so we were.
So what's your opinion of Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Oh God, I couldn't stand him. Could not stand him. I actually have friends who got bountied by him.
That's. Oh, did you really?
Yes, I did. I knew.
No,
I knew.
you
I
did
knew
not.
people of people. Yeah.
You have connections to people who were bountied by Dog the Bounty Hunter.
who skipped bail. Yes, I guess this isn't really something to brag on, man.
Well, we're not bragging, but it's an interesting story.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
it's an island,
Yeah.
It's a small place, but
That was the Big Island?
that was on Oahu. His son was working on the Big Island though, and ended up living over there, and that's when I was decided to go to art school, moved to Portland, Oregon, and
Oh, so Hawaii took you to Portland.
yep, left Hawaii. Well, all of a sudden I was smack dab on another island, living in the mountains, and I was fresh out of high school, and all of my friends were in their 60s. It was a bunch of hippies, and so I was like ready to go live life. So I did some community college over there, and then I left and went to Oregon, and that's where I went to the Art Institute and thought I was going to go into photography.
Which you're very good at.
Yeah, very good. I've used it a lot in my career here even. But while I was in Oregon, I had all these friends in the service industry making way more money than me. And while I was in school, I was working at the Gap, and
Was it the Gap in a mall?
it wasn't a mall.
What was the mall? Do you
It was
remember?
Pioneer Place, downtown Portland,
Pioneer
Oregon.
Place. I mean, I've never been.
I
but-
lived 3 blocks away from it, so it was really convenient. My school was like 8 blocks away. I lived smack dab downtown, so
that's
it was
cool.
quite.
Last night we got down a rabbit hole of the Ridgemar Mall on YouTube.
Oh,
so
what
we're
a
watching
damn
YouTube
shame
videos.
that place
I didn't
is, man.
realize it was that bad because you got to understand Ridgemar has always been a little
terrible
less
area.
than a little. Yes, the area is bad. The mall itself was. It had dead zones and.
I
Bad
did my
areas.
motorcycle safety course there. It's literally they use it for the parking
Yes,
lot now.
I know the park. Yeah, but when we were here, we've been here about 20 years now, which seems like a lot to us. We feel like we just got here, but Ridgemar was still kind of cool. You could go, and our girls took pictures with the Easter Bunny on Easter, and there was a train that ran through it, and there was traditions there. It's like gone.
It is.
It's gone now. I mean, there's like 4 stores. It's not, and I'm not knocking it. If there's anybody watching from the Ridgemar, like I hope you stay alive forever because I love malls. I'm a Gen Xer.
I honestly have a weird obsession with malls too.
Malls are great.
I listen to like mall synth on YouTube.
What is that?
It's the 80s mall music. It's when you walked into a mall and that like Hewlin Mall still looks the same. It's
Hewlin
a
Mall is
different
hanging
70s.
in there.
It is hanging in there. Way better than Ridgemar. Ridgemar
Ridgemar's
is
gone.
dude. It's over.
Well, I think COVID was the last. What word?
I
would you
saw
say?
it way
Last
pre-COVID, and
nail
I
in
was
the-
scared
yeah.
when I went there.
To Ridgemar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it just actually seemed scary because you walk in and there's no one there, and it's huge mall.
You know, it happened kind of quick. Like I've opened some businesses. We've all bought some homes. I don't know if you bought a home yet, but
No,
you buy
not working on
homes.
it.
You take out a 30-year loan. Okay, well, I took out a 30-year loan on a new awesome mall in 1988, the peak of the mall era. Okay, well, that's 98, 2008. That means I barely paid off this mall in 2018, and it was already obsolete and dead. Like, they didn't have like a 70-year run.
That is
They had like a
crazy.
35, 40-year run. There were malls in the 70s, but many of them got torn down or renovated with a new loan probably and all that. Like malls, that was a hot minute in American culture, and 100 years from now, it'll just be like this speck of time.
Yep.
But for me growing up, that was the mall culture.
I mean, that's what you went to. That's where you went to hang out. You went to the mall.
It was cool.
Yeah, we in Hawaii, we went to Ala Moana, which that's what I used to sneak away and go to downtown
mall?
Honolulu all the time.
That was the mall?
Yeah, it was a huge outdoor mall. It's like one of the, I think it's the second largest mall in America. It's second to Mall of America.
Mall of America. I've been there.
Yeah, been there too.
Yeah. Have you been to-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Went to Camp Snoopy, rolled the roller coaster.
yeah,
dude.
Camp-
Yeah, it's pretty
yeah.
fun. It was cool. When I
I'm
lived
gonna-
in North Dakota, that was the one relevant thing that happened.
Well, it wasn't in Dakota.
No, it was in Minnesota.
Minnesota.
But that was like a 5-hour drive from
Minnesota.
the plains where we were.
Yeah. Mall of
Awful.
America was cool.
It was okay.
I'm super lame. My favorite store in there was like it's called the Department 56. You know, like your Christmas villages that you see everywhere. Those Christmas
Yes.
villages. They had a whole store that was like these Christmas villages. That was like my favorite part of the store. I know, a little lame.
Do you have those at home? Yes,
We have
I'm
a lot of those.
Yeah.
They ain't cheap, Jared. That's
I
an
know.
investment
Oh, I know.
in our. No. The thing is, you put them in a box, you put them in your garage, and it's 100 and 1,000 degrees in the summer here
And
in
you hope it
Texas.
works the next year.
And they porcelain crack. So like this castle house snow thing that's $180 is garbage. I couldn't even. You don't like eBay, but I couldn't even sell it on eBay for probably $20. So no, they're bad investments. All right, so we're in Oregon. We're chilling. We come. What brings you to Texas?
Portland was getting way too expensive. Also, I was kind of, I had gotten out of school. School I was going to was Art Institute. They went through a massive lawsuit, closed over half their campuses. And I was kind of at a point in my life where I didn't know if that was even what I wanted to do anymore. So my parents, now we don't really have time to get into this. I don't know why exactly they moved to Texas. My dad joked about it for years and years, but they had no real ties to Texas at all. And they basically threw a dart at a map and picked Weatherford. And it was weird. My dad was like,
I love Weatherford.
I know. Well, I mean, I've grown to love it too.
Awesome.
But I just couldn't believe it. And so they moved here, and I was ready to change. So I was like, you know what? Texas has there's a huge metroplex over there. So I was like, let me come down here, check it out, and try something new. I was used to moving, so I was like not I was going to be closer to family. So there's all these perks. So came here, and that's when I applied for you, started working for you.
Nice. And working for me, I'm not gonna go too dark, but it was an
did get
amazing
dark.
experience. It was an amazing experience. You were like our bar manager, you were great, you were one of the best employees we had. And there was like a 6-month window where you like started losing a ton of weight, you were super skinny, and you were the
But I was
best
cleaning.
cleaner that we had. You had the most energy. And it's because, there was some substance abuse on
Oh
the
yeah,
side.
absolutely.
And that took you kind of down a bad road. I don't really need to go into the bad road. Talk to me about like kind of the bounce back.
So it was, like you said, it was an up and down road. Got into some legal trouble with it. And addiction was something I've been dealing with for a really long time, and it finally caught up to me. Through those ups and downs, I had actually I'd avoided that legal trouble, and I finally was like, I need to get ahead of this. And I was living in Dallas at the time. Completely, my life it was time to like rebrand. And
That was kind of COVID-ish, right?
Yeah, it was all throughout COVID. That was also, I think that played a lot into it. But anyways, I went.
In a good way?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
well, no. COVID played it in a bad way.
Oh.
That's when stuff got dark. I was laid off of work.
Dude, COVID sucked for
COVID
everybody.
sucked. COVID sucked.
Right.
Really sucked in Dallas too. But
Oh.
yeah.
See, we were living a little larger here.
Oh, dude, I called my mom 3 months into COVID, and we can barely even go out of our apartment. In Dallas, yeah. I mean, you're weird if you're outside at this point. And my mom's like, dude, they're not even wearing masks out here. And I'm like, okay, so they just decided COVID's canceled.
Well,
and which, honestly,
kinda.
I mean, that was,
I mean, we're not going down that road, but
No,
yes,
totally.
kind
But
of.
yeah,
we kind of decided it's canceled.
and, you know, and I didn't really realize that at the time, but that just really was going to go to show, like, why I love this community of people so much.
Yeah.
But anyways, getting out of that stuff, I had to come back. I needed to deal with my legal stuff, and so I went and turned myself in. And
that caused the sober run? So
well, yeah, actually, I almost went to prison, and because I had let it get it, you know, it was
sure.
It was that was what my attorney basically told me was going to happen, and he's like, but you know, we go to court on Friday. He was like, I'll come see you. They'll pull you out, and so I waited for Friday. Friday came and went. Sat in there all weekend, and I'm like, dude, I really don't know what's going to happen. They came and got me on that Monday, and my attorney, he's like, I don't know how this happened. He's like, you have one of the highest sentencing judges in Tarrant County, and he's like, but they reinstated you on your probation with no additional time. I just had to sit there for 30 days. And so I was like, wow. And so I had already been in there for 15, so I only had like 15 days left. And at that point in time, I had chosen to come back here and deal with everything. To get a second shot after that was like, that's when it really like clicked. And it was just, I got out and I was like, this is it. And I really did make a choice. Now, granted, there is not a day that goes by that stuff does not cross my mind once, twice, sometimes 5 times. Not the event of relapse, but just thinking of addiction in general.
No, the brain's messed up, man. Once you hook something,
dude,
it's hard to unhook it.
Yeah, and it was absolute rewiring, and that was moving out here. I basically just completely cut off every friend I had and kind of started back over out here, reconnected
in a good way.
In a very good way.
Cutting off the friendship in a good way.
Yeah.
Not that these are bad people watching whatever, but like you got to start fresh.
Yeah, well, and you got to pay tolls on bridges that you burned with the people who matter.
Okay.
And like, so that was my family, and I had an incredible support system out here. And then when I moved back here, I started working for Montana and Emily and immediately fell into just a regular barback position. I started as a barback, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to keep my head down, work. I was getting my life back on track, and it just, opportunity continued to just present itself. And before I knew it, I was in leadership over here and on the up and up, and it's
dude, super
been
proud
really
of
fun.
you.
Hey, thanks, man.
No,
it's
I
really,
mean that. I don't want to waste a ton of our time talking about my pride for you, but you know, addiction's no joke, and you had you were into some of the big boys,
the bad ones.
You were, and to be able to kind of bounce out of that, and it wasn't like this was 7 days ago. This is now 4 years.
Yeah, we're coming
5
up.
years
September
ago.
9th will be 4 years.
4 years. So I mean, you've done it, and
Yeah.
I knock on wood, you're going to keep doing it, and that's what we all pray for and hope for.
Oh, absolutely.
Because everybody loves you, Jared. And we really
and
do.
I love
you're super
everybody else,
awesome,
too.
and you're very friendly, and it sucks. It's not looked at the same way as a normal disease. Like when someone gets cancer, we all break down. We have pity on the person. We feel bad for the person. We feel bad for their family, their kids, whatever. But when someone gets an addiction, it's almost like, well, they shouldn't have done that. They shouldn't have tried that. And I'm not saying that you don't bear blame, as I'm sure you will accept.
Oh, yeah.
But like, once the brain gets hooked on something, the brain is hooked on something. And there's people watching this that understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't mean it needs to take over. But at some point in time, that's just got to stop.
Yeah.
And with you stopped it.
Yeah.
And, have a beer every once in a while, drink some, have some fun a little bit, smoke a cigarette if you want. But the bad boys are done. And that's...
Absolutely.
And that's the big message that that's when I say I'm proud of you. Like, it's... and you're in an industry now if you haven't relapsed in 4 years working in the bar industry...
Yeah, well, and
you should
actually,
be doubly
to be
proud of
honest,
yourself.
my relationship with even drinking and everything now is completely changed in terms of all of it. And a lot of that had to do with finding myself in the gym. And I've, got into the gym for the first time ever.
You look a little swole.
Yeah, which, I was 147 pounds coming out of this. So to be where I'm at
cleaning
now.
like amazing, though. You're
The
great.
cleaning was awesome.
Yep.
Okay. And I had fun doing it. But I got into the gym for the first time, 147 pounds, didn't know what the hell I was doing.
Yep.
And then I actually had a buddy who kind of took me on his wing, just showed me the ropes, and after that, I was like, this shit's fun, man.
Yeah, the fitness side of it, you're not alone. You're in the category of millions of other individuals, whether it's an addiction, a divorce, depression, whatever. I mean, that's my whole life, and my degree is fitness and health. But like, that's what happens. I mean, if you really, really are lost or low or not in an optimum spot, go to the gym.
Start
pumping. And when I say go to the gym, and this might upset people, I don't mean hop on a treadmill. It's not the same, which is fine. The treadmill has its points, but like, I mean, you rock some weights, girl or guy, young or old. Yeah. You rock some weights. Your brain reacts differently than you could possibly imagine. You feel confident. You feel awesome. You know, if you're overweight and you run on a treadmill for 60 minutes, you walk out of the gym and you're like, well, I still kind of have a belly.
Yes.
You hit the weights for 60 minutes. You walk out of that gym. You instantly feel better, look better. You're like, I still have a belly, but my muscles look better.
I'm like swole as hell.
Yeah, no,
the pump is pumping.
It's awesome. All right, so let's talk. So, best thing that's happened to you in a long time. You're here at Northside Remedy. You talked about Montana and Emily.
Gosh, they're one of the best things that happened to me, man. Yeah. The amount of opportunities I've been presented with.
I got to get Montana on this.
Oh yeah, we'll do it one of these days. We'll absolutely do it one of these days. But to be able to like really choose, because I did it when coming out of all that. You know, I obviously have a record that I'm working on cleaning up, and that you just have to kind of deal with those things. And so this industry has always been very forgiving of that. Well, to be here with, something's going on with the sound here.
No, I'm good.
Okay. There just seemed like there's some background music.
Well, they're doing in the kitchen, or you're hearing some stuff, but it's good.
But
we like a little bit of that. We're in a high action environment.
That's right.
This is actually like one of the busiest. This is a Wednesday. This is one of the busiest we've had.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's Tuesday. Yeah.
Is it Tuesday?
It is Tuesday.
No,
it's Wednesday. You're right.
Because Monday was Memorial Day.
You're absolutely right.
So keep going. So Montana and Emily, the business. They gave you an opportunity.
They gave me an opportunity, and have continued to give me opportunities between both of these bars. And being able to like really take my career of bartending and my to really advance my cocktail knowledge and really like hone in on this is what I'm doing now for my life. You know, this is what I've chosen to do, and I'm one of the most creative things I've been able to do, which is really cool because I've always been a creative person. And so to be able to exercise that through the like art of creating memories through food and drink.
Do you think we'll ever
really
see?
Awesome.
You might not even know what I'm about to say, but there was a time, and there still is in Europe. But like, if you work as a sushi chef, or a bartender at a high-end restaurant, or a waiter at a high-end restaurant, it's your career.
Oh, yeah.
Like this is how it was in the 1920s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s.
Yeah.
You perfected it. A lot of times it was males, but it can be females too. They did it for 30 years, 40 years. They were exceptional at it. I wonder if there will be an odd pendulum swing back.
There totally already is. And there's different genres of the bar industry, and that's where here at Northside we do the fancy stuff. I mean, I'm doing
Northside's killer.
We do. I mean, dude, we're bringing gastronomy into stuff. I'm doing cocktail clarifications. I mean, just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Talk to me about a drink. So if somebody comes in right now to Northside Remedy and they want to order something like just that they probably can't get anywhere else in Weatherford.
Balls to the Walls Wild. Dude, I took a whipped cream canister and ground some coffee and did a rapid infusion with nitrous with Campari. Of all things, and made him a Negroni, the coffee infused Negroni on the riff. So awesome. We do crazy cool stuff here.
People love Northside. That's the shtick here.
And I love the people. I love the people, man.
People are great. Service is great. Ownership's great.
Yeah.
Food's great.
Yeah, food's great.
Pizza's good. So talk to me about like the big thing that happened here in the last like 6-7 months was the big effort around Christmas decorations.
Oh, dude, Christmas was awesome.
Going to do it again next year?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to do.
Okay,
Tell
me about the
idea
and what happened
next year. So Christmas, I don't know if you guys have been to any of the pop-up Christmas bars, but there's some really good ones here, even in the Metroplex, and it's where Christmas literally pops up. I mean, every corner is going to have Christmas, and so this year, we had this idea of decorating a Christmas tree that was upside down, hanging from the ceiling. And I at one point said to the bosses, I was like, hey, we don't have to do the Christmas tree. It's too much. Like,
let's do it.
And she looked at me and she goes, oh, no, we're fucking doing that.
Yes.
And I was like, Oh, okay. All right. We're doing it. So we did. You know, it took us 3 days. We hung a tree from the ceiling. There's presents. I mean, it was just absolutely insane. And nobody knew we were going to do it.
Nope.
So every person that was coming in through December was like, what is this? And then after that, it was like, I almost didn't even see any of our regulars in December because it was all just new people.
Yeah.
So this year,
yeah, what are we going to do? How early we start?
I mean, I'm not going to tell. It's already started as far as planning,
Nice.
but as far as execution, I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. But because I'm sure the other bars are going to try to, other places
they
might
couldn't
try to
do
jump.
what.
You're not going to do it.
No, and you know why?
You
You know why you almost couldn't do it? The beauty of Northside Remedy is that it's big enough where you could get 23, 27 tables in here. You know.
Yeah, totally.
But it's but
it's also small.
And
you can also see almost every wall from at every point of the building. So it really did sell it to hone into vibe. Also, the tall ceilings to drop it in with the presents and stuff. I mean, it was just so cool. And I've never even been like, I love Christmas, but I like this last year. Gosh, I loved Christmas. It was really fun, and I was Christmased out. I
remember, I think Montana said they have like an entire. What do you call it? Shipping container.
Yeah, we have a shipping container out on the farm.
Full of all the Christmas stuff.
All of the Christmas stuff. So fingers crossed it made it, and what didn't, we're time to rewrap presents. I mean, we saved boxes for like 2 months to wrap them all and hang them from the ceiling.
Yeah. I came in an evening just to do like a kitchen meeting.
Yeah,
there was a whole crew
back here,
with wrapping paper, and they were just like getting ready to wrap, and I was like,
it was just a whole row. Yeah, it took that. Honestly, was the longest part in all of it. Yeah, then I did pull an all-nighter. Came in here after work,
hanging stuff
because I just knew we had to have it done by that night, and I was like, "There's no way we're gonna get it."
Yeah, because it kind of unveiled itself right after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, maybe.
Yes, it was right after.
Which are we gonna? What's the thought? Are we gonna do it a little earlier this year? Or?
I would kind of want to get it out a little bit earlier this year. We'll see.
It's a tough one.
The goal, because yes, and that's the thing in Texas, dude. Y'all like to set up Christmas really early.
And Jared, go back to malls.
That's why he's got the towns and.
But I remember malls. Okay, I watched as malls started to do. I mean, everything was Black Friday. Christmas didn't start until after Halloween. I watched malls start to hang their Christmas banners in early October, late September, early September, late August, because they were hurting, and Christmas was the thing that drove their sales.
Yeah.
So they just kept saying, let's push it, push it, push it. And so there is that temptation. There is, but we got to hold the line at a certain date. But yes, waiting until like Black Friday, I don't know, because Christmas is the 24th. It's only the third week of December. I mean, you got it for 3 weeks?
That's exactly it. That was my thing. It's like, I was like, man, I kind of wanted to enjoy this longer. I mean, you put in all this work. Then comes like the tail end of the part when you're like, all right, guys, we got to take all this down.
Yeah.
And that was the like not fun. We actually did it pretty quick, but that's the part that
I should try to help this year. I didn't help at all.
Hey, not every time. We also didn't really know what to do this year. It was kind of like we were just sticking and pasting.
We're down to like our last 20 seconds.
Hey,
let's talk Northside Remedy. What are you most excited about? What do you love the most about this place?
The people, the staff.
Staff.
I love my coworkers, and that's why I stay.
And the brunch.
And the brunch. The brunch is and I also work every brunch. So
yes, you do work every brunch. Mr. Jared Cline. I think we touched on everything. We could probably talk for another 30 minutes, brother.
Hey,
I appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's an honor. Hey.